People who lost their jobs by going off on a customer. What is your story? I didn't get fired, but I was written up and yelled at management. It was the reason I quit a week later. I am in my early 40s. For fun, I took a part-time job at a Legoland Discovery Center. I love Lego and love kids. It was a blast most of the time. However, at Legoland, employees build their name tags out of Lego bricks and attach minifigs. Kids who visit can trade minifigs with employees. The rule is that we have to trade because it's fun for the kids. Great. The only problem is that the center I worked at didn't supply any good minifigs. We just built our own from the Build-A-Fig buckets. I worked in the photo and entertainment departments and noticed that lots of our guests would bring in their extra minifigs looking to trade, but were disappointed by the selection. So I began to buy tons of the mystery minifigs and had a large collection of my own at home. Each weekend, I put a bunch in my pockets and put them on my name tag throughout the day so that I could trade. I liked having Ninjago or Simpsons or whatever. I wanted kids to leave happy about their trade and feeling like they got something special. Most weeks I spent $75 or more on minifigs for trading. On May the 4th, I pulled out all my personal Star Wars minifigs because I knew we would be getting a lot of Star Wars fans that day. I had Vader and many stormtroopers, etc. This woman came in with a 3-year-old girl and insisted that I give her my stormtrooper. She didn't have anything to trade, but I smiled and gave it to her. Then the mom went and took a minifigs piece from the build tables and made her daughter trade with me for my Vader. I traded, but was irritated because I only trade one of my personal ones per kid. There were lots of employees to trade with. The mom just wanted her kid to have my nice ones. The lady goes on to another area, and in comes a group of likely Star Wars fans. One of the girls had a Ninjago minifig in her hand that she had brought from home. She was looking for someone to trade with and was headed over to my section. I put Admiral Akbar, a fairly rare one you can only get from the X-Wing fighter build set, on my tag along with Leia. Excited, thinking that I'm going to make their day. In swoops the lady who demands that I trade all of my figures to her kid, who has 3 minifig pieces. I politely refuse and suggest that she ask the employee a couple feet away, since we had previously traded twice already. She got very angry and began screaming at me because she had gone around the center and no one else had anything good. My manager came over and made me give her all of my minifigs, even the ones I still had in my pockets. I was written up for refusing to trade and not caring about the guest experience. I was so pissed because I cared very much about the guest experience, not the pushy parent experience, but the experience of the kid who just loves Lego. And that's why I spent so much of my own money to make sure they left with something cool in their pockets. Lost my position at a vet clinic. Story goes like this. Woman brought in her 5-year-old dog that had diarrhea for the past week, was untreated for it. She was tired of the dog missing in the house, so instead of having the dog treated for the condition, she decided she would rather just have the dog put down. I proceeded to call her clueless while explaining to her the responsibilities that are involved when you decide you want to have a pet. I was fired. I never looked back. I didn't say this, but I saw it happen. Working at Burger King many years ago, I was working the drive-through register, which was close enough to the front registers that I could hear conversations. One of my co-workers was taking an order from a lady who kept asking how much her total was, and then cancelling food on it and changing her mind. I guess she was trying to keep under a certain dollar amount. Well, at the Burger King I worked at, any cancelled food on an order needed a manager's password, thanks to one jerk who stole money by putting in someone's order, telling them the total, and then cancelling out the order and pocketing the money. So the manager had come by 3 or 4 times at that point. This was during dinner time, mind you, so there was a line of customers out the door waiting to order. Finally, my co-worker pulled out a pad of paper and a calculator. He started writing this woman's order down and totaling it out by hand. The woman asked him why he was doing that, and he told her, when you make up your mind about what you want, then I'll put it in the register. This pissed off the lady, so she grabbed the notebook and tried to hit my co-worker with it. He snatched it back from her and told her get the heck out. My manager was only going to write him up for it, since the manager agreed that the lady absolutely deserved it. But my manager had to follow company policy, but he already had to write-ups on file, so she had to fire him. It wasn't me, but I'd been told about it. Some guy just passed his training for a call center, and a few days in, he answers the phone to a customer, and they get into an argument. The argument goes on for nearly an hour, and when the customer hung up, the guy called him back to continue the argument. The guy was in his late 50s and lost his job very quickly after. Many a year ago, I worked at a home improvement store called Menards. I was a cart pusher, which was nice as I was outside all the time. Anyway, we gather about 25 to 30 shopping carts together and push them up to the entrance where they are stored inside. Now, to get them there, we do have to cross the main drive of the parking lot in front of the store. We always stop and let customers drive by. So as I push the carts up, I stop because I see a guy in a pretty nice SUV. He's actually stopped in front of the entrance. Maybe he dropped someone off, I do not know. So I'm waiting to see if he drives off, and he then looks at me and waves me across. Looks like he wanted to finish a call he had gotten or something. So I wave back and start pushing the carts across. I am on the other side when some clips me across the shoulder blades, and it stung somewhat and pushed me forward, and at the same time I heard glass shatter. I turn around and the guy in the SUV clipped me with his side view mirror. It had swung closed and shattered the window in the door, and I'm just standing there wide-eyed. 2 seconds later, the guy gets out of his car swearing up a storm at me and how I'm a low-life piece of garbage and how I'm going to pay for a new window and that I'm not going to get anywhere in life because I broke his window. Now I'm the type of person that if I was the reason, I'll take the blame and fix the problem. But this guy hit me. I blew up on him for about 5 minutes before a manager finally had the guts to come over and pull me away. I didn't have to pay for a new window as it was on video, but I lost my job because we are not supposed to yell and cuss at the customer. Not me, but my mother. She was working at an upscale cocktail lounge in Arlington, Virginia, just out of college. Fancy place, all DC businessmen. It was common for large groups of men to come in and get absolutely wasted. One night, a guy decided, after a few cocktails, that it would be hilarious to untie the wrap skirt that was part of her uniform. Bad idea. My mother was furious and dumped an entire tray of martinis on his head. She was promptly fired, but still thinks it was worth it. I used to work at pizza place in a small town. When I was a teenager, one night I took a phone order from some idiot woman. It went like this. Me: thank you for calling pizza place. May I take your order? Woman: yes, I'd like a large pizza, half pepperoni, half sausage, and half black olives. Me: okay. Did you want the toppings combined or separated? Woman: no, I want half pepperoni, half sausage, and half black olives. Me: okay, so you want 1/3 pepperoni, 1/3 sausage, and 1/3 black olives. Woman: no, I want half pepperoni, half sausage, and half black olives. Me: I understand the toppings that you want, but I'm not understanding how you want us to put the toppings on your pizza. Do you want them separated by thirds, combined together? Or do you mean put half the amount that we usually put on? Woman: what's so hard to understand? I want half pepperoni, half a sausage, and half black olives. Me: lady, there's only 2 halves to a pizza. Woman: I want to speak to your manager. I got fired on the spot. It was easier for the manager to just hire another person than it was to lose a customer in a small town. Oh, and the lady wanted the toppings divided into thirds. She told the manager the same thing, and he just went with her math. She also got it for free. Was a stockroom assistant at a well-known fashion chain in the UK and US. Didn't go off on a customer, but I bloody well wish I did now. Happened to be behind tills changing hangers boxes when a customer explodes at the trainee cashier demanding to know where her order was. She's screaming her head off at how it's unacceptable I paid extra and how she made a specific detour to collect her package. She had ordered a jacket in another branch and had paid for next day delivery to the store I worked in. Customers aren't supposed to come collect their orders until they get an email saying their order is ready to collect. The poor cashier started last week and is basically cowering for dear life. I take over and ask to see her email, which she explained she doesn't need, because she paid extra, so her package must be here. After 10 minutes of me trying to explain why her package isn't ready to collect, and her trying to challenge Krakatoa, she storms off shouting that she'll be having words with the guy who owns our company. I hand back to the cashier and carry on with my day. The next day I'm prepping our delivery, and I get called for a meeting with the store manager. I'm told I'm being let go for gross misconduct, specifically being unhelpful and challenging to customers. Turns out the customer was a journalist for the Daily Mail, and she called our head of company, who she did indeed know personally, and got me fired specifically. TLDR, tried to reason with a Daily Mail journalist, got fired for her stupidity. Yay for logic. Edit. Her jacket did indeed come an hour after she left the store. She came back with her email. Sweet victory. Share your stories about people who lost their jobs because of a client. That's it. Subscribe.